Okay, everybody, it's Banasty. I'm back again for my second round of hosting. We're in the final day of GAC, so if you haven't donated yet, this is your opportunity to click on that link and put some money towards a good cause. We now have Virtual QSO running for us Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Take it away, Virtual.
Oh, yes, hi. I'll be running Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Gonna start by putting together my beginning of the run settings. I play the game on easy to mitigate RNG. There's certain items that are really disruptive, but the CPU only gets access to on the harder difficulties. So I'll be disabling those. Gonna put together a card that's fitting for the event real quick. I wish it saved these. Okay. Okay, that'll do for now. And time starts when I press the Y button to get ready, which will be now. Alright, so the basic story of this game is really simple. It's basically just the kind of story that they make just to have an excuse to have a story. The alien nitrous oxide has has come to challenge at the inhabitants of Crash Bandicoot's world to a race, and if he wins, he turns the entire planet into a concrete parking lot. The story behind the story is actually quite entertaining. Naughty Dog, the creators of the original game, were actually looking to kill off the franchise. So they were like, what would nobody take seriously? What would kill this franchise? And they were like, aliens. But the reaction was the exact opposite of what they expected, and it was actually Oxide was actually ended up being a very popular villain. Okay, so the fundamental mechanic of speedrunning this game is the power slide. By doing a short hop and turning, after a few moments, pressing the other jump button provides a small boost. Not quite the same way Mario Kart does it. And then, through the power slides, the game has a reserve system. Basically, the more that I've boosted, the longer I can go before needing another boost to keep up my speed. And with reserve, I can even sustain more powerful boosts, like these boost pads. They give me more speed than they give me more speed than just power slide mini turbos. But they normally dissipate pretty quickly. But by maintaining my reserves, I can sustain them and maintain a higher speed throughout the entire tracks. And for speedrunning adventure modes, it's recommended to choose a hero character because these tutorial prompts that appear after races it take less time to skip with the map that appears for the for the hero characters than for the villain characters. Okay, that's... The Golden Wampa Fruit is not important to the speedrun at all. It is tied to the game's premium currency system, which only works when I'm connected to the internet, which I specifically disconnect from the internet before this run because it has an extra results screen after each track if I'm connected to the internet, where it gives out the game's premium currency. And then, so for the reserve system, in addition to it depleting over time, it also instantly drops to 0 if I brush up against the wall for more than like a really fleeting glance. And of course, if anything hits me with a power-up, then I also have to start from nothing. Have to build up my speed all over again.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. To get a turbo boost while power sliding, make way!
Alright, for this trip we're gonna cut across this terrain right here. That shortcut that I took through that is off-road path. So on laps 2 and 3, I'm going to be hopping across to reduce the amount of speed loss. But on lap 1, I don't have enough reserves to reliably not continue my power sliding. I'm also avoiding the turtles here to give a significant boost to a significant jump into the air. But doing so, they trade forward momentum for vertical momentum. And I am holding this bubble, which is a shield that will protect me from one attack, just in case I not quite timed up right for the fireballs or other obstacles like this TNT, which I plowed through just to take that turn a little bit tighter. That chicken or whatever that dove into the water has no collision, so I don't have to worry about it. And those fireballs are on a consistent cycle, so as long as I go at a steady pace, they're easy to predict. They tried to hit me, even though it wasn't going to help them pass me because I was already lapping them. But I managed to get to the finish line before they did, before it hit me.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. When you get a TNT crate on your head,
Okay, I need to make sure not to get too close to that gate because that'll prompt a tutorial, which can be it can be skipped, but it's better. But it will still have to. But the opening of the hint at all still takes time before it can be skipped. Still takes time. It's better just to not prompt at all. Sometimes the game does this and lags at the start of the track. Fortunately, it's a lot better on the Switch 2 about that than on the Switch 1. Oh, this is a really good power-up to have on this track, to have the shield on this track. Because these barrels, they are very large, and if my pace is slightly deviates, I could run right into them. I could be lined up right with them. They are on regular cycles, but they're fast enough that any difference in any deviation in my pace could end up with them at a very bad timing for my pathing. Taking that shortcut can be a little bit finicky, but by holding the down on the analog stick or holding back if you prefer, it usually makes the jump high enough to fairly reliably get it. This is the first track where things could be a little bit tricky. And I didn't even need to use my shield to defend against any of the barrels. I did use it to slam into the CPU. Just because I could, because I ended up not needing it. And up next is the first boss level. It's theoretically possible to skip the boss cutscene from even starting if I press the acceleration at just the right time between when the podium animation ends and the boss cutscene starts. But I have not been able to pull that off on the Switch 2. I think it has something to do with the reducing load times. That's why I haven't been able to pull it off. And bosses in this game they basically run on a system where, unlike the regular racers that get items randomly from the crates, after bosses get past about the first crate or so in about to that distance in the track, then they just spam the same item infinitely. Oddly enough, they only drop items behind them, which is like, even to a casual player, it's like once you get ahead of them, what do they expect to accomplish? Okay. And I do have a shield here just in case. Gonna still try to take a tight path. Okay, There's a hub. This is a little intermediate hub world here. It doesn't really have anything relevant to any percent. It has challenges that are needed for 100% completion, and it also has it's also where the final boss is stationed. But for the final boss, we immediately get teleported in front of it anyway, so that doesn't matter. And when entering this hub world, there's two choices of which track I could do. Both of them are about the same distance from the entry into the hub world, but I always choose the track that's on the right because the podium is close to the track on the left. And if I were to go to that track first, then I'd have to go all the way around to get to this track instead.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
Okay, this track is RNG heavy. The only track that's RNG heavy, even beyond like the items that the CPU gets. There's a shortcut right there. I need certain items to be able to enter it. I need an item that I can shoot forward, which I did not have that time. This is also not an item that I can shoot forward. I'm going to make extra sure to cycle through any items that I get until I get one that I can shoot forward. If I were going for in order to go for a record, I'd probably just have to, well, to go for a record, I'd have to restart the game at this point if I didn't get good RNG. But for a marathon, the variance is acceptable. Oh good, I can actually open the shortcut with this item. Glad I got to show it off at least once. The boost power-ups are like, they don't give me any extra speed when I'm already sustaining a boost pad level boost, but they still add to my reserves. Theoretically, they could also be used to instantly get me back up to that level of speed if I lose my reserves, but the most likely cause of losing my reserves is being hit by an item.
You win a trophy.
And that also gets rid of the Wampa fruit that would be, because if I have 10 Wampa fruit, I get let's see, so Wampa fruit are like Mario Kart's coins, and yet that you can hold up to 10 of them, and in this game, when you get 10 of them, they upgrade your items. So the boost power up normally gives you just a boost that's about the same level as a power slide boost, but if you have 10 Wampa fruit, it gives you a boost pad level boost.
Hey, how's my exhaust tips?
This track is the simplest track in the entire game, and it's like a third of the way into the run. Gonna hit up this boost pad, and I'm gonna. The wall here has some funny collision. I can just parkour up it for no good reason, just to save a small fraction of a second by taking that turn tighter. And of course I did not seem to have as much reserves built up as I hoped, as I thought. Oh yeah, there is in addition to touching a wall or being hit, or by just letting the reserve, or just not sustaining your reserve by letting it deplete. Third way that that reserves can be lost is if you press the break button while while you're on the ground. With one exception that I will cover later.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. To get around a tight turn or to fix Make way!
Alright, this is a really tricky track to get to do a clean run on. Because it's got these narrow corridors that the walls are so easy to brush up against and deplete your reserve. I consider it the hardest track to, based on, in terms of the theoretical best time compared to the how, like, I consider it the hardest track to do the best that's theoretically possible during the regular run. Okay, I managed to build up reserves and hit the boost pad and not immediately lose it. That being said, I did not have enough reserves to carry it a long way. Alright, I think this time it'll hold.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. You can get a hang time turbo from jumping.
Alright, that's the last of those hints. I also have to make sure I don't get too close to the boss gate before I have all the trophies in the home world, for the same reason as I can't, not wanting to get too close to the locked gate between the worlds. I do not want to prompt up another tutorial.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
This track I'm going to slip between the cactus and the canyon walls there. I also have to watch out for those armadillos. They're on a cycle, and they count as an attack if I touch them, so. Alright, we'll be going to the next boss. Small bit of trivia, there's variance in how long the podium animation takes. There's basically 3 different possibilities of the podium animation. And because of that, uh, for leaderboard purposes, they are there's a way to account for those and they all get reduced from the clock. And the bosses from now on are going to be on some of the harder tracks in each world. So this boss drops the potion items.
Oh yeah, that's the crunch.
Probably shouldn't have cut across the grass there without any boost. I especially don't want to touch those red potions. The red potions are some of the most devastating items. Fortunately, the boss is kind enough to not throw any potions in this narrow section. And that is roughly the halfway point.
Pop will not himself.
I say roughly because in terms of the number of tracks it's halfway, but the remaining tracks are significantly longer per track. On average, anyway. This is the one last simple track. Simple in terms of basic layout, anyway. Not simple in terms of what it allows.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
Gotta watch out for that boulder. Fortunately, it's the only obstacle of that type on this track, and it's pretty slow and easy to see coming. And then for this shortcut right there, I've got to approach it at just the right angle so that I have a little bit of an extra slope when I jump to give me the extra air time to clear the fence. It can be pretty precise. I'm going to drop this after I cross the finish line so that I don't have to worry about running into it. Got some good air there.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. Make way! Hey, how's my exhaust?
Right? Ah, that's not supposed to happen. With this track, I gotta watch out. I gotta follow the minecart onto the minecart tracks. Okay. Unfortunately, this track is sometimes this track messes me up with the narrow entryways. Rushing up against the wall and being off-road can result in that being easy to mess up, and losing my speed and being too slow to outrun the minecarts. If I take the shortcut full speed, I'm significantly faster than the minecarts, which can lead to the opposite problem of catching up to one from behind. Okay, well that's how that shortcut is supposed to go.
Now that
And the thing about running this game is that at any point, if you lose your boost, you're slowed down and there's nothing you can do to pick up your speed back again up until the next time you get to a boost pad. So a single slip up can be very costly. Also, that green screen there is another element that prompts a tutorial that I don't want to get too close to.
you're sure taking your sweet time.
Have to watch out for the steals on this track. A lot of these, it's a regular occurrence that there are hazards that just go back and forth in a regular cycle, perpendicular to the track. And let's see. Ooh, that's really good. When I have less than 10 Wampa fruits, the shield will be green, and it will fade after a time if I put it on. Blue shields never fade. At least not until they're launched or until something hits them. And that boost pad just gave me the much more powerful and limited blue flame. The blue flame can be even harder to control, but it dissipates, and it can deplete the reserves much faster. But if it can be sustained, it's necessary for record times. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Fortunately, it sent me right back so that I could replenish my blue flame, rather than set me after it where I'd have to go through the whole lap without it. Uh-oh. That was about the worst place for it to run out. But yeah, unfortunately, because a lot of because reserves need to be filled up before hit, because of how fast it depletes the reserves. If it doesn't have a significant amount in advance, it will run out at the worst possible times. Like if I start from 0 acceleration or boost right before the blue flame pad, then I won't have enough reserves to sustain it for as long as it needs to be. And it is kind of unfortunate that the brick wall there is considered out of bounds too.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Alright. Okay, this track is long and windy, but there's not really much to talk about during it. Alright. Let's go. I am avoiding jumping off the ramps. Instead, I'm just flipping direction of my power slide in the air without an extra jump to try and maintain forward momentum and not trade it for vertical momentum. This could come in handy if I accidentally... Let's use this to try to immediately pick that back up. Sometimes the CPU just drops items at the worst possible places. And sometimes the CPU just happens to decide to throw an item that they're holding right as you cut in front of them. That was set to be a pretty good lap until that happened. Alright. Alright. This boss's specialty is both TNT and Nitro crates. Ah, darn, couldn't quite clear that jump at that speed. Fortunately, it just puts me right where it puts me ahead of where I was trying to get to anyway, though. That was not a good move on my part to put that TNT there. Oh, and I ran out of boost because I had to take off that TNT that I had. Oh. And and I panicked because of the nitro, and I didn't build up and I lost the reserves I was building up for that boost pad. Well, that is unfortunate because the cycle of the minecart is very good for if you do a clean run, but anything that messes up your run could throw you off of the ideal cycle.
Now that's what I'm talking about. You're not so.
And unfortunately, with TNT, with the potions, I can throw them forward and either position them way out and either launch them into where they land will be way out of my way, or just throw them off the track or into a wall entirely. Unfortunately, the TNT crates, I cannot do that. In order to try and cycle for better items, I have to drop the TNT on my path. Okay, we're at the last section of the game, and from here on, all of the tracks contain the blue flame.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
This track is a little bit of a breather, and as far as my run goes, it's significantly wider and has more open turns than the next and final 3 tracks.
Oh yeah, that's the punch.
There's really no good place for me to put this.
Oh yeah, that's the punch.
If I put it there, I can at least steer clear. It's at least wide enough for me to avoid it. This blue shield the blue shield always is nice to have when something's coming up. Right?
Now that
Alright, it's a good lap.
Congratulations. You win a trophy.
big wave!
Alright. For this track, if you're not particularly fond of spiders, you may want to look away. I will be sure to mention it when I will be sure to say when I have finished this track so that you can look again.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
And then this track is
Big wave!
okay. This power up is the equivalent of Mario's Superstar, providing a boost and invincibility. I don't know why why the game allows us to get the invincibility boost power up when we're already in first place. It's useful. It's great for speedruns, but in a game with a PvP aspect, it's not such a good idea. And then, much like all the various Bowser's castles, this course is just full of right turns. 90-degree turns. Oh, I hope it doesn't come back to fight me for dropping that there. I meant to throw that forward. Three perfect boosts in a row is usually a really stable way to refill your reserves. Alright, that's the end of that track, so any arachnophobic viewers can look again.
Congratulations. You win a trophy.
You're sure taking your sweet time. Make way!
The nice thing about that jump is that it provides a huge amount of reserve. That boost panel provides. And what I just did there to take that turn super tight without depleting my boost, or braking, is a technique called a U-turn. And by holding the brake button while holding down on the analog stick, or D-pad if you prefer, you can actually also steer extra tight without losing your boost, even if you're on the ground while pressing the brake button.
Make way!
That was a really good run of that track. I didn't even lose my blue flame even during the downward spiral that leads to the big jump, which is a tight enough turn that it's easy to brush up against the walls on.
Congratulations. You win a trophy.
All right. And this will be the last non-boss race of the run.
You're sure taking your sweet time.
This will come in handy to hold on to. Yeah, you're not hitting me from that far back. Turns are a little bit narrow to here to take with maintaining the high speed, this level of high speed. Ah, overcorrected. Fortunately, in the sections that it's not a good idea to power slide through, there's enough boost panels that I can use those as my ways. I can try to tap those instead to have that be my way to refuel my reserves.
Is that all you got?
And fortunately, that potion was hard to see, but I had already prepared my shield in advance, so I didn't have to worry about seeing it at the last moment and then swerving out of the way. My first 2 laps were exactly the same time.
Now that's what
Alright, well, the last lap went really good. And next is the pre-final boss.
you're sure
Funny thing is that despite being the second to the last boss, he is the least disruptive to a speed run. His item of choice is bombs, which unlike the others, don't linger on the track. Ah, try to take that turn a bit too tight. But yeah, the only time that Pinstripe can do anything to me as the boss is right when I'm about to lap him. And sometimes, and during some sections of the track, he takes a break from throwing bombs anyway. So if I were to approach lapping him at one of those points, then he'd really be doing nothing to me. Alright, I'll give myself a little bit more space this time. I will jump across the cloud there. I don't really like that there's that big cloud there. It just makes it harder to see the corner to cut for no real reason. Unfortunately, even though my reserves were low, taking that panel still just tops it off, just utterly tops it off. Okay, here's where he can try to disrupt me. Like I said, try. Well, I ran out of reserves, but I'm right at the end anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Now that's what I'm talking about. So, he's beat me fair.
And last but not least, by getting all 4 of those keys by beating the bosses, we have proven ourselves worthy to challenge Oxide. Yeah, Oxide's a dirty, rotten cheater, but it doesn't really help him. I will say I'm definitely going to want to try and get a sealed item. Or even an invincibility mask if possible. Because he has some really disruptive item patterns. And time will be when I cross the finish line on the 3rd lap, so that's coming up. I think I just saw his icon flash like he ran into one of the items I dropped on the track. Can I not keep getting those TNTs? I really don't need the track to be more littered than it's already going to be. Well, this will help me at least keep up my reserves for the last lap. But honestly, I think I still would rather try to keep cycling it for a shield. Alright, last lap. And this is why he's so threatening to speedrun. These red potions that he drops. He drops particularly, unlike the earlier bosses, he does not care if he's dropping them in narrow paths, unfortunately. Like right there. And these red potions are just seriously disruptive. Alright. And that is time.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
I can't believe you beat me. I never lose. How embarrassing. I'll be the laughingstock of all cats
see.
here.
I guess this is where I thank you all for watching, and then
Time relics. Until you collected all of those and race me again, you'll never
and I guess I will shout out to the people, my friends who've been supporting my streams and my family.
again.
And yeah, I guess that's it then.
Thank you, Virtual, for that awesome run. I always love watching these kart racer speedruns. They're just so much fun. As someone who's played Nitro-Fueled in a casual setting, I can't even stay on the track. So watching these is always brilliant. If you haven't donated yet, we only have about 12 hours left of GAC 2026. So make sure if you're holding on to your donations, you click on that link in chat or go over to gamersforhope.com/donate and put some money towards saving people's lives. That's where this all goes. We also do have one more incentive that we haven't reached. If we can raise $1,400 by the end of this stream, 10IQ, our event lead, will shave his head on stream. And I want to see that. So make sure you go and you donate for that. Sit back, enjoy the music, grab yourself a drink, because up next we've got Organ Mike with Sentinels of the Multiverse.